Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speak English Easy with Podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Olivia. It is wonderful to have you with us today.
Today, we are diving into a topic that I think will resonate with a huge number of our listeners. It's that frustrating feeling of saying, I understand everything when I hear it, but I just can't speak.
Oh, absolutely, John. It's probably the most common complaint we hear from advanced learners. You can watch movies without subtitles, you can listen to podcasts like this one and get every nuance, but the moment you open your mouth, you freeze.
Exactly. It feels like there's a disconnect between your brain and your tongue. Today, we want to unpack why this happens, the psychology and the linguistics behind it, and, more importantly, give you some concrete strategies to bridge that gap.
So let's start with the why. Why is there such a massive disparity between passive understanding and active production?
Well, at a C1 level, your passive vocabulary is immense. You recognize thousands of words, idioms, and grammatical structures. But your active vocabulary, the words you can recall and use instantly, is significantly smaller.
Right. It's the difference between recognition and recall. When you listen, your brain is in recognition mode. Context clues help you fill in the gaps. But speaking is a creative act. You have to retrieve the word, structure the sentence, and articulate it, all in real time.
And doing all of that simultaneously creates a heavy cognitive load. It's not just about knowing the language, it's about processing speed and automaticity.
There is also a major psychological component, isn't there? The fear of making mistakes.
Huge. Many adults suffer from what linguists call language anxiety. We're so afraid of sounding foolish or making a grammatical error that we self-censor. We overthink every sentence before we say it.
And that overthinking kills fluency. Fluency isn't about accuracy, it's about flow. If you're constantly pausing to check your mental grammar book, you lose that flow.
I like to compare it to learning to drive. You can study the manual and understand how the car works, but until you get behind the wheel and build that muscle memory, you aren't really driving.
That's a great analogy. So let's talk about how to get that wheel time. How do we move words from our passive bucket to our active bucket?
One of the most effective methods is what I call forced output. You have to put yourself in situations where you must speak, even if it's imperfect.
But what if you don't have a speaking partner? That's a common barrier.
You don't need a partner to practice speaking. Have you ever tried the shadowing technique?
I have. It's incredibly challenging but effective. For our listeners who might not know, could you explain it?
Sure. Shadowing involves listening to a piece of audio, like this podcast, and repeating it word for word almost simultaneously with the speaker. You're mimicking the rhythm, the intonation, and the speed.
It forces your mouth to reproduce the sounds without giving your brain time to translate or overanalyze. It builds that physical muscle memory we talked about.
Exactly. Another technique is simple self-talk or narration. It sounds a bit crazy, but narrating your day as you go through it can be powerful. I'm making coffee. I'm pouring the water. It's scorching hot.
It does sound a bit funny, but it works. You're connecting your physical actions directly to English words, bypassing your native language.
And since we're targeting a C1 level here, you should try to make that narration complex. Don't just say, I am walking. Say, I am strolling down the street, enjoying the crisp autumn air, although it is a bit chillier than I anticipated.
I love that. You are intentionally pushing yourself to use more sophisticated vocabulary.
Precisely. It's about stretching your comfort zone. If you always use the same simple words, your active vocabulary will never grow.
Let's touch on the concept of perfectionism again. I think C1 learners are often the hardest on themselves because they know enough to know when they make a mistake.
That is the curse of the advanced learner. You're painfully aware of your own errors, but you have to embrace the good enough mindset. Is your message clear? Did the other person understand you? Then you succeeded.
Communicative competence is the goal, not creating a poetic masterpiece every time you open your mouth.
Right. Think about how many mistakes native speakers make. We stutter, we restart sentences, we use the wrong word. It's natural.
So, John, what about the role of listening? Can listening help your speaking if you do it the right way?
Definitely. But you have to move from passive listening to active listening. Don't just let the words wash over you. Listen for phrases. Notice how we connect ideas.
For example, instead of just hearing the word opinion, notice that I said, in my honest opinion, or from my perspective. Those are chunks or collocations.
Learning chunks is a cheat code for fluency. Instead of building a sentence word by word, I am of the opinion, you grab the whole chunk. I'm of the opinion that. It's one unit of information instead of 5.
That speeds up your processing time immensely. You're assembling prefabricated blocks rather than raw bricks.
I want to suggest another exercise for our listeners. It's the summary technique. After you watch a movie or read an article, challenge yourself to summarize it out loud in 2 minutes.
And record yourself.
Yes, recording yourself is painful. Nobody likes the sound of their own voice, but it's the best feedback tool you have. You'll hear hesitation patterns that you don't notice in the moment.
You might realize, wow, I say and every 3 words, or I keep mixing up he and she.
Exactly. It gives you objective data to work with.
Let's talk a bit about lifestyle. Immersion is often touted as the magic cure. Just move to an English-speaking country. But that's not realistic for everyone. How do we create an immersion environment at home?
You have to build a digital cocoon. Change your phone language, your computer interface. Your YouTube feed should be 90% English. You want to bombard your brain with English input so that output becomes the natural reaction.
And engage with that content. Don't just watch a YouTube video, leave a comment, interact. Arguments in the comment sections are actually great practice.
That's true. Nothing fires up the language centers of the brain than wanting to prove someone wrong on the internet, but it simulates a high-pressure conversation.
We should also mention the importance of consistency. You can't practice for 5 hours on Sunday and do nothing the rest of the week.
Consistency beats intensity every time. 15 minutes of speaking practice every single day is far superior to a weekly marathon session. Your brain needs that daily reinforcement.
It's like exercise. You don't get fit by going to the gym once a month for 10 hours.
Exactly. So, to recap for our listeners who are feeling stuck in this understand but can't speak trap. 1. Accept that passive skills naturally lead active skills. It's normal. 2. Shed the perfectionism. Embrace the messiness of speaking. 3. Use techniques like shadowing and self-talk to build physical muscle memory. 4. Learn phrases and chunks, not just isolated words. 5. Create a daily habit of speaking, even if it's just to yourself.
And remember, the goal is connection. If you're connecting with people, if you're sharing your ideas, you are a successful English speaker.
Don't let the fear of what you can't say stop you from saying what you can.
Well said, John. We hope this conversation has given you some new tools to break through that barrier.
Try the narration technique today. Walk around your house and describe what you see. It'll feel silly, but trust the process.
Thank you for tuning in to Speak English Easy with Podcast. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and speak up. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.